Join Dalton and Jacob as they discuss the ever-changing world of trading card games. TCG Buzz starts now.
Are you ready for this? I don't think they're ready for this. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Dalton. Super excited right now, as you can tell, with your boy Jacob. Don't worry, it didn't hurt that much.
Did you break anything?
No.
Your hand, the microphone?
Well, I think they'll let us know.
This is some expensive equipment, man. Hello. I
already did that piece.
Thanks for joining us. For those of us in the chat, talking with us, saying, show me your moves.
Yo, real quick though. We told you so.
We called it. Look at that. I said, it's going to happen. We're going to get an official. And people are like, nah, Jacob, you be crazy. And I'm like, you're right, but I'm right.
Just DMXing over here like,
So what are we talking about, though?
We are talking about the irregular.
No, we never say. It's just like the entire live stream is just gloating for 45 minutes.
Yeah, man, we were just so right. Like, you can't even
100% correct. You know what? In fact, they probably got the idea from us. Just saying.
Oh, no, they're asking where Paper Jacob is. Where is he, Jacob? What did you do?
I honestly have no idea.
He's killed him, guys. Rest in peace, Paper Jacob. We will be making a separate video to remember his journey with us. He was the greatest co-host a man could ask for. But that irregular list, though.
So this is going to be an interesting episode because the actual, we do episodes where we talk about news, something new happening in one of our card games. But this time we have, 2 paragraphs to go off of, if that?
Something like that. So basically it's going to be implemented for the tournaments, Adoy. And it's going to be released May 7th, 2100 hours Japanese time, correct?
Yeah. So there are a couple caveats with this. One, it's not called a ban list.
It's an irregular list.
It's an irregular list. Cards that they deem as irregular because they're too strong. I'm like, guys, we're not scared of the word ban. Now you just make me think it's like a yogurt list.
I thought they could have done something a little bit more cool with it.
If that is
Buddy Police Most Wanted.
Hey, that'd be cool.
That would have been a lit name for your ban list. Am I right or am I right?
No. It's just called the Impact Sleeve list.
Impact Sleeve.
Now they're banned. Yeah, I mean, so it's a list. There are a couple of caveats with it because we're just going off of, a little bit of info that's been leaked, not really anything substantial yet. We're very much on the cusp of this just being announced.
Exactly.
So we don't even actually have confirmation if this is Japanese only or English only or both, or if it's going to be the same list or if we're going to have different lists because we have different metas.
Don't do Konami on us, man.
We Yep. Now we're going to have an OCG and a TCG. All right.
Oh. So basically, I guess now since we kind of talked about its basics.
Yeah, literally, guys, that's it.
We'll go into cards now that we have more cards from our original ban list, which you should definitely check out.
I don't know, before we go into the actual cards, what do you think of the idea? Has your opinion on a ban list changed in the past couple months since we did our episode talking about it?
Has the meta changed?
Yeah, maybe a little. It's definitely going to be changing.
It hasn't changed enough.
I mean, what's really interesting for me about this is the timing. Why are they announcing this now? Because we are at this point, we're in this huge transition, probably the biggest transition ever for Buddyfight, and it's not even, we barely know what's coming.
I think they're doing it now for 2 major reasons. you know, so that Ace season that comes out, it's not going to have this uphill battle of trying to overcome what X put in, and then also preparing for the real regional in autumn. So, you know, you have time to prepare and so forth, so you know what most decks will be looking like now after the irregulars have been placed, and so on and so forth, and also kind of giving Ace a chance to actually take over the meta in a sense.
I think that is kind of what they're looking to do. The other thing is, I'm not quite certain, to be honest. I'm bad with this. Are spring events done now officially, or are there still a couple left?
No, I want to say they go to June, don't they?
Maybe.
I believe they go to June.
Someone confirm that. The thing is, you know, those are pretty much wrapped up, regardless of if they're 100%. They're almost done at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
And these certainly won't take effect until after they're done, if there are any left. Which means they're doing it in between seasons. I mean, seasons of competitiveness, not seasons of the show. Which is when you should be doing stuff like that. It's either in between with that large break that we get in the summer, or it's going to be right before, you know, a new block begins, essentially. What I like about this is it gives them a whole bunch of flexibility now to show us how the next 2, 3, 4, 6, 10 years of Buddyfight are going to be shaped. You know,
if they can handle that.
This is the point where they can say, hey, you know, we've given you guys too much draw power. We're going to limit those types of cards. Or, hey, you know what? Cards that call things from deck, that's a little too strong. That's what we're going to focus on.
Goodbye, Auto D.
There are a lot of different things they could do with this. And it's not just, hey, this card makes people salty. You know, so let's ban it. But it's also not, hey, you know, they're just, you know, helping out the butthurt players. You know, it's something in the middle, guys.
Yes, for the middles.
Thanks.
Or I was busy checking chat. I'm sorry. Nothing else much really happened. I just had to put my B for hurting everyone's eardrums. I didn't mean to. I was too excited, and the mic just happened to get in the way. Now I lost train of thought because I was apologizing again.
Yeah.
So where were we?
We're talking about the timing of this.
The timing, I say, is quite perfect. Mainly because it's in between, most likely going to be in between the meta scene. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm pretty sure Springfest is still going on. I could be 100% wrong. But it should be a nice pace unless Bushi royally F's it up.
Think about how different Buddyfight's going to be 6 months from now.
Yeah, you're going to have ace cards.
We're going to have ace cards with whatever they bring to the table, with new archetypes, I'm sure, and a whole bunch of new cards and probably some new rules and cards that we can't use anymore. It's going to be crazy.
Now, all right. What cards do you think are going to be on this irregular list? Because right now it's more specified to be limited, not necessarily banned.
Let's talk about that. Do you think it's just a fancy word for we're banning it? Or do you think it's going to be, hey, these are all limited cards? Or is it going to be kind of like how Konami does it, where they have different tiers?
Ideally, it would be more like Konami because it's probably the best, so you can still keep certain cards so you don't like completely destroy decks. You know, you try to see how broken the deck is.
When we imagined one a few months back, that's kind of how we imagined it to be.
Mm-hmm. Because you want the tiers where like, well, if 4 copies is too powerful, maybe 2 copies might make the deck more balanced again.
Without
and if it's
throwing
not
it to tier 3,
and if it's not, then obviously we have to ban it. You know, not completely kicking the deck out of being decent or whatever. You know, kicking it to tier 99 or table 900.
I'm sure they'll leave the option to fully ban something open. I'd like to see them not use it unless it's, you know, needed. I'd rather see things limited because I hate the feeling of opening a card and be like, oh, this card will literally never be able to be played because it is banned, you know?
Hunter Search brought up a very interesting point, if you want to check that in the chat, talking about probably the main reason why is prevent future loops. Because apparently there is a loop kind of going on right now that I wasn't even aware of. I've been too focused on my own decks. And
Ask Magic the Gathering. Loops are bad.
Oh, they're fun. What do you mean? Don't you like infinite tokens?
And this brings up a huge point, though, with the infinite loops, because we had one infinite loop that saw a huge amount of meta success back in the day in Dark Heroes, right?
Yes.
What was it? The Zeta?
It wasn't Dark.
No,
it
it
was
used
Zeta
some.
loop. Zeta
Yeah,
loop.
the Zeta loop thing. And they fixed it by errata. And they fixed the next time we had a big issue with, Skies in Your Hand and Gambit and that whole shenanigans that Dalton broke.
I didn't. No, I used a different deck to break it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to gain life for days.
They fixed that with an errata, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hate when they fix things with erratas. Because then every time you play the card, you got to go to your opponent. So you know this card has been errataed and blah, 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 blah. Already in a game that, doesn't have the greatest track record with cards not being errated. How many times has Bushi actually legitimately messed up with typos or just weird oddities on cards? And to throw, fixing your meta into the same pool really makes things messy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say I prefer a limited /ban list over errata fixing. But yeah, that does bring up a good point.
Mm-hmm. And it could be interesting because if it's really just to stop loops, I guess it works too. Because then you don't really have to get rid of any cards. But then again, I honestly would rather see a ban list or limited list because certain chaos things have happened.
I just hate erratas, man. I really do. Unless they're absolutely necessary for something. Like, unless the card's being taken out of the context that the creator of the card wanted.
Right.
Then you shouldn't be errataing it. That just means, hey, we messed up, so we're going to, make it so you can't play the card. I'd prefer.
Well, I don't really agree with that. If it was supposed to be put into a different way, definitely errata it. It's not going to be something too crazy. So, like Kong, how he was printed and it was just, a size 3 not raging.
Yes, making Raging Spirit support. Oh.
No. Dragon Chief Emperors, and then it was errated to size 3s, and then any Dragon Chief Emperor, which made the card better in a sense, because otherwise it was like, oh, this was kind of a dumb triple rare size 0. Why is it a triple rare? But now it makes sense instead of having.
So, would you say overall this is a positive move, though? I mean, when we did our first episode on this, you were on the fence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were on board.
I was totally on board. Now, let's, cover our bases here. What do you say to the people who are against a ban? What is your reasoning? What will you say to make it better for them? Make them understand that this is a good thing.
Well, it's very simple. No matter what you want or will do, eventually cards will become broken beyond repair and might just need to be banned in general. It can be an old school card that all of a sudden with some new cards, all of a sudden, boom, it shoots up and like, oh, we need to stop this unknown combo that all of a sudden came out of here with Gambit, Skies in Your Hand, and Force Return. We didn't necessarily think of it, but it was there
now
until the new cards came out, and then it was there.
To give Bushi props for that particular situation, I really liked how they communicated on it and explained why they were making the changes. They did a good job with that.
Yeah, same thing with the Reverse Skull Impact monster.
Yeah.
Like, they were really good on those fronts. There's some erratas where they weren't so good on, and so on and so forth. But having a ban list or a limited list at the very least really helps keep the meta healthy and more open to many more decks to try to be top tier instead of, I have the meta deck. What do you have? Oh, you have a tier 2? That's too bad. I win.
So the thing being brought up a lot in the chat right now is that instead they should just errata cards and then continue, swapping the old copies for the new. I'm hands down against that. You know why? It's too hard.
Mm-hmm.
For multiple reasons. One, just the logistics of it costs way more money than just limiting a card. Two, that makes it so, when it's let's say there's a set with a ton of them, it just makes it a mess. What happened with New World Chaos, right? It was just like, why even print it in the first place? Three, a lot of players won't have access to those, I don't know if reprinted would be the best word.
Or reissued in a sense.
Generally they're done at regional events, and a lot of players can't go to those.
Yeah, a lot of people tend like, well, I don't want to be competitive in a sense, so they rather be local and so forth, or do it for fun.
But also, this is a really new thing. I mean, the first time they ever did that was with the SP Gear God, right? From Chaos Control Crisis.
Oh yes. Now
that was the first time they ever did it, and it worked okay. But
then again, you have that situation like you had, because you had the SP. You're all like,
yeah,
well, I'm gonna keep it, but I'm like, well, it's not gonna make any sense. Well, I'm like, well, if everyone brings back theirs, mine's gonna jump in price because it's an oddity. But I'm like, but everyone's gonna be thinking that. So then you're gonna have this weird split where like half the people do it because they're like, well, if I thought this initially, that means other people aren't going to do it, and then I'm going to do it, and then mine's going to be the oddity, and it's going to be more expensive and so forth.
But at the time, that was a one-time thing. But now, in the past couple sets, they've done plenty of them that they've added to this list that they're trying to do exchanges for, either for foiling issues or stuff like that, primarily, right? Mm-hmm. It's getting too complicated. Absolutely. Now you have to go through your entire binder and be like, oh, this card I need to make sure to bring with me in exchange, and this card I need to bring with me in exchange. Like, why rely on that? And my understanding is that's more for quality control in the first place than for, fixing erratas. So, and that's the other point. It takes forever to even get the programs running, especially in English, and Bushi doesn't, because they're supposed to do them at regionals. They don't exactly, advertise them well at the events.
That too, because the last one the only time was for the what was it called? I forget what Star Dragon World card was it that you can bring with you to get foiled out or something like that, right? For the shop tournament.
Maybe nah.
Or was it a different card? I might be thinking of.
I don't know what you're talking about.
From Springfest. Was it? Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. What else?
So I guess let's move on to the part that might trigger some people.
Everything triggers people out of your mouth.
It's true. Let's talk about, obviously, you need to take all of this with a grain of salt because this will change dramatically when the Buddyfight Ace / Shin Buddyfight cards come out. Mm-hmm. It will change everything for what should be banned, what should be on the list, what should not be on the list. Everything will be different 3 months from now.
Yeah.
Just take that with a grain of salt. Just keep that in your mind as we discuss this. But we're looking at this because the list is supposedly going to be announced May 7th. That's not that far away from
It is
now.
not.
So we're going to look at everything currently released in the English format and see, what cards could potentially be on this. We're not even going to say we want these on the list, just saying what might be what we expect, what's likely.
Or in more a sense, our opinions or our thoughts or what we believe should be
best guesses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have your own, leave it down in the chat, or if you're watching this afterwards, leave down in the comments below, or join our Discord. Throw them out in there. But Hunter Search is really fixed on erratas, though. I can see that. And erratas aren't bad if they can be taken care of well. If they're not taken care of well,
I think they're used for the wrong reason.
Yeah, because you can't fix every single card for every little miss thingy, I think, but that's me.
It's not turning into Yu-Gi-Oh! It's kind of like how, Vanguard has a small, relatively well-kept ban list that worked quite well for them for years. I don't know why people are so scared of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Taint.
I think it's more of the fact of how we brought it up.
Yeah. This isn't going to become Yu-Gi-Oh, guys.
We're not saying we're going to have every 3 sets we're going to get a broken card or 3. We're talking more of the fact of the way they have it listed is probably the most fair / best way to handle a ban / restricted.
And relying on erratas to fix the cards they accidentally broke, or maybe they intentionally broke that they wanted to keep for a while is, good, but then got, the snowball got too big in a sense. Mm-hmm. That way shuts out casual players like crazy, because you don't want that. You don't want someone just learning the game going, I want to play this card. Oh, you can't. Get rid of it. Rip it up.
Well, that's a little
But-
extreme, but okay.
I don't know. So it's a complicated issue, and people have their own opinions. These are just ours.
Exactly.
So the first thing, before we go into specific cards, do you think this is going to be a short list or a long list? Because there are two very different approaches with this. One is just ban everything that's good. Two is ban, 3, 4 cards or limit them, whatever you want to say. Just when I say the word ban, imply in your head that I mean limit / ban / cut to 3 even. Only a few problem cards to better balance the game.
Yeah.
Are you going for, a big old nuke on the meta right now, or are you going for just a few select sniper shots?
Oh, we know sometimes Bushi can't handle that, but let's hope they can do it. So, Jacob, any cards that you can think of right away, and are we, more importantly, are we going to have this open field to where even flags can get hit? Because there's some things.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. I mean, some people would love that, saying ban all Chaos, ban all Thunder Empire. Look at the reaction video I did to people's suggestions, which was a blast. But no, that's not going to happen. And the primary reason is because Bushiroad wants money. It's a business. They're not going to get rid of 2 of their most popular products. Think of each world as a product, right? Chaos and Thunder Empire sell boxes, right?
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, sure, the Solar Strife is going to sell some boxes to people interested in playing Zwei or interested in playing Sun Dragons, right? But think about how many people bought boxes for Chaos support or Thunder Empire support. They're not going to ban the entire deck.
Yeah.
Not,
It was just making sure,
Yeah.
if we would touch on that or not. But, it's nice to know. Nice to know. So let's get into some of these cards.
quick, I'll answer the question. Dragon Ball Super does not have a restricted list yet, but they've only had 3 booster sets, and they already had to fix a majorly broken card with an errata.
With a perfectly executed errata, mind you.
They did a good job with it, but again, it was fixing a card with an errata, which I don't think is the best option, unless it's complicated. It's complicated. Okay, so do you have any specific cards? It's kind of weird because, the meta's in this transitional space. We don't know for the future, but just looking at it from now, there aren't really any decks that are like super problem because everything's really powerful. There are a lot of decks that are really, really strong right now. It's not, 6 months ago when it was Thunder Empire or dead.
True.
I could see them banning something from auto deities, even though they're not, going to be a crazy deck going forward, just for this temporary transitional period. So it'd be like a temporary ban on like Pentar.
So you mean bots?
Sure. On bots, but it's bots, bots is their boy.
At least limiting him down to maybe like 2 copies. So it's nothing super crazy. So you can still get everything off of him that you.
And again, I see that as a temporary thing, just making sure that when, the new season starts, it won't be, to the point where no one's going to play the new cards until they get their real support, 6 months in.
Right.
But I mean, there aren't that many cards that I'd say are explicitly broken in the game. If anyone's in the chat and is like, yo, this card needs to go, let us know.
What about Chaos Gear?
Chaos Gear?
Because it draws 4 if you have 4 monsters on field and discard 1.
Is that one you feel is broken?
Come on, Jacob. It's broken.
Okay, all right.
I think it's broken.
I haven't actually played against it, so I don't.
All right, so imagine opponent playing against Chaos deck. They have 4 monsters. 1 card in hand. Cast it. All right, cool. I have to discard 1. That's neat. I have 3 cards left. Now I got all these other advantage cards in hand. And now I keep going off. It's a combo extending card.
Yeah.
If you really look, because that's the way I look at it, because it furthers the combos for auto deities or the chaos or plain chaos or mini gear gods. Like
mini gear gods.
Hey, don't make fun of my minis. I love my minis. but I feel like it's going to be targeting more of the comp. If this is a real deal type deal, or if it's going to be taken seriously, I feel like it should hit more of the high powered combo pieces. You know, if it's like a low powered one, say like what is it, Ruler of Havoc, the plain old pay gauge draw 2, right?
Yes.
Like that. That's fine. It's not stupid broken or anything like that. But like Chaos Gear, it's like, all right, I draw 3 or draw 4. I'm thinning through my deck. All right, I'll get rid of this card that I don't really need, and then just keep
And
going
then just
on.
set up the drop.
That too.
No, I see that. See, part of it is what direction is Bushi going to take with this? You know, are they going to go for the single one-off splash cards that just gain you crazy advantage like that? Or is it going to be a part of your 4 or 5 card combo that's going to get blocked out? Or is it going to be just big old monsters? You know, it really comes down to how Bushi wants to shape the meta.
Mm-hmm. Like, what's a good combo? Let's talk Dual Seeker, even though it's not up there yet. And I know Christian's going to hate us for it. I can hear him in the background.
He's reeing in the background,
making pig noises. I might butcher a lot of the names and so forth, but you basically have what is it, Centurion, right? Dual Seeker Centurion or whatever. Being the main combo piece, but you still have all the others that just kind of work. So I wouldn't get rid of that, if anything, or limit that card or anything. Like, God Eclipse is the main piece that you're trying to get to because, oh, look, now I have 10, 12 Seegers in my drop. I have 10, 12 crit. I now swing 4 times.
Just a thought.
He's thinking again, guys.
We're going to see this ban list, in a week or so, right?
Yes.
And what's really fun about it is we are looking at it with the perspective of Buddyfight X, right?
Exactly. That's
Bushi's not going to be.
That's the thing.
Bushi's going to be looking at it with the Buddyfight Ace mentality because they know what's coming. We don't. So what's going to be really funny is if there are cards that are on the list that we're like, well, why the heck is this being banned? Like, it doesn't make sense to us. It's probably because something from one of the first Ace sets just breaks it.
Exactly. Like, they might actually be testing these cards out. Cough, then, kind of
That
funny.
would be a first. I mean,
it could be something like, say it's Botsex Link, even though we haven't seen that card in a while in the meta. Even though it's
coming back as an SP.
It's still irrelevant. Don't get it wrong. Like, it's still going to be a decent card, but maybe there's something in the A set that all of a sudden brings it back, and then all of a sudden it goes back, because I don't remember what its price point is now, but at the beginning it was like a $20 triple rare.
2025, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it jumps up to a $58 card, and it's like, wait, hold up, wait a minute. God, wait.
Something's wrong.
Wait, Bushi, come here. What you do here? You just did something. I don't like it. Like, that's what they're looking at. If this is giving them credit, I want to give you credit, Bushi. Don't get me wrong. I want to. If they're actually testing all the ace cards with certain cards they think might be the problem.
What I find, the point is it's almost irrelevant to name cards that we think should be banned. Because it doesn't matter what we think. It's more about, the process of how they're chosen that's important. And like it or not, like a ban list, don't like a ban list, it's coming. So, we just want to be optimistic about it. It's going to be good, right? It's going to be great. Bushi's definitely not going to mess it up like they've messed up 1,000 other things.
And then Hunter Surge and Anime X-Men manga has been talking some things too, talking about mainly Thunder Empire and the Chaos. And they're talking about if you ban or limit things, so forth. It's really the engine, the advantage gaining engine that you have to worry about with those decks, which is true. Hence why I talked about like Chaos Gear being probably the strongest draw spell we've ever seen, and hopefully will be the only strongest one we'll ever see. Just saying.
The other thing I'm really curious to know is, will they take community input? Because it's, for some card games, it's such a fight to tell them, hey, we think this is a problem, you need to ban this. There have been cases in, other card games where they're like, there's a huge problem in this game and it is broken, please fix it.
Like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like they had that little phase with what was it, Spirals. Like, Spires was still getting support and so forth, but the Yu-Gi-Oh community already realized this is tier 1. Nobody's going to beat this deck. You have to play this deck or you play hand traps in order to stop it.
And that's it.
And Konami was just like holding off because they're like, well, we can't do this yet. We still got some cards coming out for it. You know, we want to make sure everything's out. Give them some time with the deck actually at full power and then bring down the hammer, which they did do. So it might not be necessarily the fact of card like Bushi ignoring us or anything like that. It might be more of, well, we want everything to be played out or something like that. Things like that. What do you see there? What do you see there?
I'm just, how did we get on actor nights, guys? What's the story here? What am I missing? I don't understand. Just don't ban mini gear gods. You right. So what I find...
Well, real quick, Hunters, I get what you're coming from, and that's kind of what I was trying to say. Like, you ban certain cards that are more powerhouses for the engines and so forth. But the engine, yes, it's going to be strong no matter what. If you ban, say, 1 bots, well, that's not going to matter. It's the engine that gets you to a certain bot. So it's like, all right, got rid of this bots, well, we input next bots. It makes sense. I'm talking more about, like, limiting certain cards in the actual engine itself. Like, Globes or, what's the ninja's name?
Yeah, the ninja dude.
That guy, or even,
what's the...
the Legend World spell.
Well, no, I'm thinking the Dragon World double rare size 1 that Dragon Emperor Legends on call. Sphere.
Sphere. Yeah, I guess.
There's a reason he was my buddy when I played him at regionals.
But I'm like even the Legend World spell that I'm gonna get Gauge in life for this many world names on field.
Yeah,
that's
Fighter's Up,
crazy.
Right?
Yeah, Fighter's Up. Yeah. There we go. That's kind of
all right,
busted.
But again, we can sit here debating for the next 17 hours what cards are going to get banned. The more important thing, though, is, you know, are we going to be happy about this? You know,
I can answer this question. Yes and no. There's going to be people who are going to be happy because their decks can now thrive, like Authora users, Jacob, because that was the main reason why you didn't use your Authora deck.
Nah, man, actually, I'm really thinking that the reason we're going to, you know, they're doing this huge ban list is they're actually going to ban every card in the entire game that does not have the art attribute.
And that's where we leave off on this live stream today, folks. Thank you for coming out. No. So you have people like myself who play Construct and want to see Construct kind of shine back through, even though they never really did.
Rogue decks.
Like, more rogue decks can become more the norm instead of being a rogue deck. And there's always going to be those other group of people, such as like Christian, picking on Christian just because he has more meta decks, like his Thunder Emperor Fang, his auto deities. They get hit, they become basically junk, and now he's sitting there with worthless cardboard, and now he's pissed off that he can't wipe
Christian's
the board
got
with
tons of
people.
decks. He'll just play Omnilords.
Yeah. That's not his good deck.
He'll just
As of now.
He'll just play
He'll play Dual
Wizards.
Seeker. He'll play Dual Seeker. I have Wizards, so he doesn't. And things like that. And then you have other things like WinCon decks, like Black Dragon sets, or even Plague. Like, how's that going to go down? Like,
remember when Demon Lords were supposed to be a WinCon deck?
When was that ever going to happen?
They had that one impact with Miseria on
I
it.
don't know what you're talking about. But, like, in those case scenarios, like, they have a certain amount of setup, but, like, they have ways to keep themselves around, keeping that on the field, or making sure their souls are stay intact, so on and so forth. Like, how is that going to be handled if, say, the more tier 1 or tier 0, even though I don't believe there's any tier 0 right now.
Jeffrey Berdos is saying we should ban Dual Seeker Centurion.
We can't do that just yet.
Not until it tops.
World Eclipse will be more than enough for me, honestly. That's where it's the broken piece. Yes, Centurion gets you to him, but it's him that's broken. Where was I? win cons. Like, with the other decks getting banned, like the tier 1s and tier 2s kind of getting limited or so forth, I should really say, to where they all of a sudden are getting knocked down further and further down the tier list, are those win con decks all of a sudden going to start jumping up and then taking their place and then all of a sudden becoming too overpowered? And
we're not saying touch those decks. That's kind of naughty, but we're not saying to hit those decks. We're just saying there's something that could become really strong or stay exactly as they are. It's unpredictability is what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. I'm talking more of the fact of, is Bushi going to look at everything like, well, world pandemic is a pandemic. No pun intended.
Dalton's Dalton's not speaking as a hater. He loves that deck.
I love the deck. I'm still working on it. It's going to be a while. It is going to be a while. But, like, I'm talking more about the shift with doing things like, well, if we limit these cards and these cards, how are these decks then going to start faring? Are they going to start exploding too fast, become too strong, be the new normal, be the new tier 0 in a sense? Or do we have to limit a nice even balance to where everything's kind of on the same playing field?
Let's be honest.
Few spikes up and down.
Let's be honest. We're just going to have to ban all the Gargantua dragons because you know they're going to break them.
There's only one Gargantua dragon.
You never know. He's going to get his full archetype, man. They're all going to be Gargantua dragons. I'm telling you. It's going to be a deck of big boys. All right. Do you have anything else? I do have one final point, but I want you to get through what you got before. Yeah. Got to recover first.
Funny thing, Anime X Manga, we actually don't write any of this. This is all off the dome.
Yeah,
so,
we're not script writing people. Like, literally, our entire conversation planning this episode was, hey, you want to talk about the ban list and gloat about it for a while?
Yeah.
That was
fun.
actually it.
Fun. That was basically the conversation, and we went into this. And that's kind of like how we like to do it, because I feel then it becomes a little bit more personable in a sense, because it's more...
We're just having a conversation. It's us talking with each other and trying to make each other laugh and talking with you guys.
And, you know, it kind of makes it more personable in the sense of, you know, there's going to be those awkward pauses like, yes, I'm thinking, yes, this thing, or where was I type deal. Instead of, we have everything like imaginary teleprompt right here, like, yeah, you can
we actually own a teleprompter, and I got yelled at because it had like 3 inches of dust on it because we've never used it. And I'm going to get yelled at for even mentioning that.
Just had to break it. But what was the last thing you had wanted to
My last point is a warning.
A warning?
A warning. We are about to go into the point in time where there's going to be a lot of passion in all directions from Buddyfight players. People are going to get fired up, and people are going to get triggered. Okay, it's going to happen. It's unavoidable with this topic. So my warning is, don't jump on hating someone because I got a different opinion than you. That's just going to make you look bad.
You know, when we kind of have Bryce in the room, he's kind of doing little talks.
He's heckling us from the corner. Thanks, Bryce.
Yeah, he's a Zwei Dry player. And he's
you know what? Let's just
hated.
ban Dragons Y.
Yes, let's ban Y just to trigger Bryce even more. Make him play the chaos, the deck that he's triggered about.
No, but seriously though, guys, be nice. You know, be nice to us. We like you guys, all of you. We love you, everyone. Be nice to each other. Talk about this though.
Wait.
Don't be setting your views.
Wait. I have to set a view real quick.
Okay.
Because I got problems with what Anime X Manga just said.
Oh, no. You're literally ruining my point.
No. I only got one thing. Because he says, hopefully Gargantua dragons are going to be a mix of swords and Neo dragons. I got problems.
It's with that last word, isn't it?
It's with that last word. You got me messed up.
I'm going on.
He is a Mikado. He will stay in Dragon World. And that is where he belongs.
I'm going to go on record here. I don't know if I've said this before, but I've been predicting hard for the past like 2 months that the next season's going to introduce impact items.
Impact items?
So if that happens, because I was right about the ban list, I've been right countless times.
Whoa. Yeah, you're good at predicting other things that don't affect you.
Yes. but I'm calling it impact items, just on record right now. But yeah, back to my point. Don't be so set in your views. Debate nicely, and if someone's right about something, say, "Hey, you're right. You right, Dalton. Neo Dragons do suck." See, see.
Gao is different. He is completely different. I realize he did not stay in Dragon World, but it's completely different. He must start and stay for at least a season and a half.
Not every episode he switches to a new world.
Oh, God. Yes, he's just going to be... How many worlds are there again? Like 13?
Do we count special flags?
No. There's 11, right?
He's going to play generic.
Yeah, he's just going to be a generic deck.
But yeah, there are going to be a lot of thoughts, and I want to hear all of your guys' opinions and respond to them nicely, and maybe I'll disagree, maybe I'll agree with you, who knows. But I want to hear all the opinions, and you know where you should share them?
In our Discord?
Yeah. Yeah. Pitch it to them.
Discord. Links in description below.
Thanks, Dalton. We kind of had this thing, we were bouncing back off each other. I'm like, yo, balls in your court, Dalton.
Whoa, item spells. How would that be, bro? Item spells or monster spells.
What are we doing? Just like throwing a dart at the dartboard to see what we get next? It looks like we will have Buddy Monster.